And he like, you don't have trees? I'm like, we got trees, but not trees. You know what I mean? It's foliage, it's green all over on the long side.
Bad boy, check your phone.
That's funny.
Oh yeah, I'm done. I'm ready. Yeah.
Everything's in.
Everything good.
You going live? You going on?
I'm gonna do
All
YouTube. You
right.
already know it.
Facebook. Y'all should see it coming up in a second.
We live already?
Yep.
Oh yeah, we in this thing.
Yeah, all right.
Let's get it.
I told you, man. I was gonna catch y'all talking, but I don't want to do y'all like that.
You know don't you feel country when you think trees is cool?
Right. Oh my God.
Who country now? Like I think I felt country. Like your ass has been in California so long, you forgot the world is full of damn trees.
Yeah. Oh, and then we went to Georgia. It was a whole nother experience.
We'll be starting y'all in a second. We just gonna kind of get y'all clicked in, clicked in. Hey man, you I seen this thing on TikTok. I'm gonna ask you if you can solve this real quick for me.
Okay.
Who would win a chess game? A mind reader versus a future seer. Have y'all seen that on there?
Yeah, I saw.
You see that? Yeah. It was so crazy, but
somebody who could see the future, predict the future,
right?
Or a mind reader.
Or a mind reader. Who would win the chess game?
I would say the mind reader, right? Because he can read the mind, but the person who sees
but seer see what he's reading.
Yeah. Okay.
So who would actually really win? That's the hardest
I
question.
Guess the person who can see the future.
The person who can see the future, but if it's a mind reader can read that he's seeing the future.
But he's not knowing.
It was a tough one for me too because I started giving man other abilities. I was like, but he gets to see every version of the future, so he gets to choose which path to take.
Exactly right.
Can the mind reader really keep up with him? You know,
can the mind reader keep up with the seeker?
With the seer.
With the seer.
With the seer of the future.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go mind reader. Final answer. Mind reader.
I don't know.
Because no matter if he can see into the future, I can read what he's thinking.
Yeah.
So no matter how far ahead he is, I can always see what he's doing.
You can see what you don't know how. Okay.
Oh yeah, I can see what he's thinking. So even if he,
if
he's 20 moves ahead of me,
but he already know
see that.
But he already know that he already know you see it. You're gonna see it.
Oh, because he see the future. Yeah.
And that's my point. Yeah. He may be able to have the ability to manipulate the future because he can
see the future.
Manipulate.
Yeah. But then if I can read his mind, I can see.
But you can tell that he's going to say he's going to manipulate.
Right.
So it's a game. It's a
game.
Nobody gonna win.
Ain't nobody gonna win that chess
game.
The longest damn chess game.
Carolyn's in the house. What's up, Carolyn? We about to get started in a second. We appreciate you tapping in. I see you, Gary, on Facebook, man. Go ahead and tap in on YouTube for us, so you can and subscribe, so you can get in on this conversation, man. It's gonna be a lit show today. You know what I'm saying? We got a special guest in the house, and I'm telling y'all, if y'all have been looking at the advertisements and the TikToks that we've been putting up lately, I mean, y'all know it's gonna be a fire show today, man.
Hella promo.
As Fat Boy call it, it's gonna be a movie, dog. All right. But yeah, that was one of the questions though on TikTok I seen earlier where I was like, ain't no way, and they was arguing one trying to really figure it out. It's kind of like you really can't figure it out.
What smart ass dummy came up with that?
I know, right? What smart dummy?
Smart dummy, y'all. You know what? Y'all got too much time on y'all damn head. Have me over here stuck like, what if it was the guy from the future? You know? Hey, I ain't playing y'all game.
All right, let's get it started. What time we got? Oh, we got a few minutes, a couple of minutes. All right, you share.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah.
Lady told me. I sure would have messed up my whole thing.
You would have fucked it all up.
I know, right?
You would have fucked up the church's money.
YouTube would have been like, we can't monetize you.
Oh yeah, they take it.
They so full of it, man. I can't stand it. Like I paid for a subscription. Yes.
It's all those artists that be out there wanting their money.
Yeah, exactly.
That they not even giving them.
That they not even getting.
Yeah.
That's what's so cold about it. Like you're trying to stop me from playing some music, but they only playing them like 0.2 cent on the dollar.
Well, not only that, and they're getting paid from your subscription that you already have. Yeah. So if they already getting paid, why I can't play it? I can play it in my house, but I can't play it for somebody else. Yeah. Come on, man.
YouTube
I'll be
tryna
contacting y'all.
win.
YouTube.
But y'all know that's don't get me started. But you know that's Lior, man.
You guys tapped in. You
Lior
guys
Cohen
tapped in.
over there. You know,
Continue to share. We about to get it started in just a second. We see we got a few people in there watching y'all. We about to get started.
And what's the dude from who did Death Row? What's his?
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
Sign Dre. Levine.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this man's name with the glasses?
What are you talking about?
He's over at Apple.
Yeah.
So when you see Apple Radio and all of that advancement on what they did, that's whoever this man is that I can't think of his name.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. I worked with him over when he was over out here in Burbank.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, so yeah, so they kind of changed because they lost so much money when your boy Napster came.
Yeah.
He stole a lot of their money.
Oh.
And so a lot of them, that's how the 360 deal came
y'all ready?
up. And
D,
then they
I
all
see you, D.
made their
Thanks for
way
joining
towards,
us.
He's at Apple Music. Lior's over at YouTube.
Yeah.
So they controlling all of the music because they realized that the record labels dropped the ball.
Yeah.
And then Apple came out and then really started to show them how to monetize in this new era.
Man, you ready?
And changed it. I'm ready.
Oh, that's talking, man.
You know,
Damn.
I'm always ready. You know, I'm always ready.
Because that's what we do, dog. All right, man. Let's go. Let's get it started. What's up? It's your boy.
What's up,
you guys? All right, what's up, you guys? Y'all just joined Reasons, the place where you can come and watch. I can't even get it out right. The place where you can come and give your reasons why you think about the topics we're talking about for the day. And today we got a hell of a show for you guys. Man, do you want to start with the lineup? You want me to get the lineup?
Start that lineup.
I start the lineup. So, of course, you know, we're going to give our condolences to Queen Elizabeth, Tiffany Haddish. We got a little something about her. We're talking about why do women lose interest quick in a relationship. I think you got something on that. And how to understand and manage infinite. How you say infemininity?
No. How to understand and manage femininity.
Femininity. Why I can't say it? Femininity.
Femininity.
And of course, we got a special guest in the house, you guys, and we're talking about non-monogamy with guests Wayne and Melissa. Is it LaSane? LaSane. I knew I was gonna say it wrong. I told you said LaSane.
Actually, probably is LaSane. It's French, so it's
LaSane. Oh, I said it right. LaSane. We got them in the house, you guys. Yeah, we got them in the house, you guys, and we're talking about non-monogamy. For those of you guys that's not really sure what it is, how it goes down. We have a true couple that has going to give us a little knowledge on the whole topic. So let's start it off, man. First of all, man,
let's start with the brother first.
Yes, please. Yes. As you guys may have heard in the news this morning, David Arnold, the comedian David Arnold, passed away this morning. Yeah. No, actually it was yesterday, right? We got the news this morning. Yes, and at the age of 54. Yeah. And they said it was caused of natural causes. For you guys don't know, he just had a Netflix special. It ain't for the weak. He's been
funny.
Yes, he's been coming up like crazy in the game. I mean, he's always been in the game.
He's been in the game for a while.
For a long time. Of course, you know, he's written for a lot of the sitcoms, Fuller House, and all those some things for Tyler Perry as well. You know what I mean? So, you know, really very talented brother. I think he had chilled out for a while, and then he just started coming back strong with 2 Netflix specials, and doing his TikTok was blowing up and everything. You know what I'm saying? And it's so sad to see, you know, hear that he passed away. You know what I'm saying? So our condolences go to his family. Yeah. Then we have Queen Elizabeth.
I mean, are we really sad though, y'all?
No, I'm not to say sad.
She was 107, wasn't she?
No, she's 96.
How was the queen?
96.
Bro.
96, but she's like the longest running queen in history.
She done seen 10 world wars. I'm just playing. She old, man. Shout out to her though. My condolences to the royal family.
To the royal family.
Come on, man. She lived a beautiful life.
Yeah, she did. She
96 years, man. That's a beautiful thing. To even do. But yeah, man, I never thought, honestly, y'all, real talk, I never thought the queen was ever gonna pass away because she been living for so long. So it's kind of a shocker that she did finally pass. But then when you think about it, 96 years old. Yeah. That's a full life.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like I said, I mean, it's not to say we gotta be sad about it.
No, I'm just talking.
You know what I'm saying?
You
What's up to our viewers? We got y'all in the house.
Family? I see.
What's that? I can't hardly see from over here. Jeremiah, I see Jeremiah. I see Crown Prinny
slid up in here.
Crown Prinny, Carletta's in the house. We ain't seen you in a minute. Where you been, girl? Look, I guess looking around. What do y'all see? We can't show y'all, man, because y'all be looking.
Hell State. I see you, Jeremiah.
Right.
We in this thing. You already know Virginia State forever.
On the side there. Who else we got? Marlon's in the house. Just popped in.
Marlon?
What's up? Okay, guys. So let's get into this first topic, man, because it seems like for some reason this whole show kind of the topics that we have for this show kind of leads up into what we our main finale, the main course. You know what I'm saying? So let's get into this first one, man. So why do women lose interest quick in a relationship? That was kind of like your question.
You wanna start this one? Why do you think? Because I know what I think. I had a few reasons.
We did have a video on that too.
We do.
So you guys will check it out, but we don't have it up right now.
YouTube. But, that's why y'all should be subscribed, because you would have got the notification that a new video dropped. So if you were subscribed, you would have seen it already, and you would be able to
giving us the answers too.
Start talking to
exactly.
But see, since you're not subscribed, I got to get on you.
Right.
But I think our viewer, when we went out on the streets, I think they said it the best. I think consistency. I think far as on men's side, I think that once we get a woman, we don't know how to remain consistent in the things that we were doing.
Right.
And I think that was something that you told me in the beginning of my relationship. Don't
start off doing something that you can't through the future.
You can't sustain.
Exactly.
And I think that a lot of times we be so busy trying to impress. And to get her, that you don't know that you have to maintain that to keep her. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's a big part. Yeah. And then also I think that, and we're going to touch on it later, is our not understanding how to live within our femininity, right? And understand that certain things do affect us emotionally more than we say that it does.
We're gonna tie that in because
we're gonna talk about that later.
For most, I want you to throw me off real quick.
I don't see you like that because I'm ready today. But that's for the most part. But I want to see what you got.
Inconsistency, like you said, for one, is a thing. Because sometimes we, like you said, we do impress you know, trying to impress at the very beginning and stuff like that, whatever. And the women not thinking that that's just us impressing them. They're thinking like
That's
this is us.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where we mess up. You know what I mean? Because so I decided
that's your favorite
all
mistake.
my first dates is going to be McDonald's.
Hey.
And then I'm gonna build it up. You know what I'm saying? And then like after a month, I mean, we gonna get to, you know what I'm saying? Then we're gonna go like on Melrose or somewhere.
I keep telling y'all don't be listening.
And then I'm gonna take it back. No, I'm just bullshit. I'm just
relationship advice. Do not listen to Phil on these relationship advice. That man gonna have you sleeping on last relationship. He told you the last 2 episodes ago. He told you the corner you make.
But that
don't want to do that.
Yeah, we definitely
and now
gonna
he's
do
telling
that.
you to take the girl to McDonald's. Start off slow, maybe
look,
at Chili's.
Look,
Don't take her to Mickey D's.
I was just joking on that, but corner your mate, I still believe. I still believe. What we got real quick on the we got a lot of comments already. Y'all, what's up? A lot of women were in relationships where they didn't have a voice and stayed because they were dependent on their husband. Dependent on their husband. Yes. Wow. A lot of women stayed in a relationship because they didn't have a voice. So
that'll definitely make a woman. I guess that's her saying that. That's why she lost interest.
That's what make them lose interest or whatever, because they actually don't feel like that they're actually they could be themselves. You know what I'm saying? So that's a good answer. It's like they can't be themselves, whatever, and yet
that may be more than consistency, actually.
Oh yeah, it is.
Not allowing her to be herself, and I think that we do that just through that toxic male masculinity and ego, and being able to push that I'm the man,
exactly.
I'm the man, and not being able to allow her to have her voice. Actually, fellas, that's the number one way to lose your damn woman. I think that'll be it.
Oh yeah,
I think you'll lose your woman faster than a set of keys around here.
But you know what? This it's a shame to say, but some women, you know, falls into that because of the security that they feel like they have with that person. You know what I'm saying? So they will keep quiet until they get tired of it.
So are you saying that because silence is acceptance? So are you saying that
part,
due to the security that they are accepting it?
But is
that causing them to lose interest?
At the beginning. You know what I'm saying? To the point where, they're accepting certain things. They're not being able to voice themselves or whatever, to the point where after maybe a few months or a year go by or 2 years go by, whatever. And it's kind of like that shit builds up. You know what I'm saying? And that person, that person that really is strong-willed from the beginning or whatever, that's been holding this back, is going to bring it out, and they're going to end up released, and letting go of the relationship, period. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all understand what I'm saying? Y'all get me? Oh, okay. All right. Let's get to the next. Who else we got?
I was going to say that if she's just there for the stability, I think that'd be a point for her to lose interest fast as well anyway. Not just her not having a voice, but I think that a lot of times we in a relationship for just these one reason, and that can always be shaky. So did she truly lose interest, or did she never really have interest in that person? Right?
Did she have it at all
in the
at the beginning?
Yeah. Was it ever in that person? Right.
It
was just all in what that person could provide. And so I think that I always say that we got to watch a man who want to always take care of a woman, and not in the sense of providing for her, but the ego and not giving her a voice and telling her I do this because I bring home the bacon. Exactly. You got to kind of watch that. It has to be a certain level of balance. And I think that in a society that we live in, it's hard to say that because it's always about getting a man with a bag. Right, but then you can get a man with a bag that has his own ideology on how his woman is supposed to be.
Exactly.
And you can't, you found interest in what he can do and not who he was. And so you never really lost it. You never had interest in him.
So but you still lose a little of yourself inside.
Absolutely,
that whole thing
for sure. But I think that is, I don't want to say you allowing yourself to go through that, but I think it's so shallow. But I kind of want to say that you allow yourself to go through that by thinking just one way. And so I think we got to watch that.
Exactly. Let's get to the next one. You had one up, Nigel. Oh, there it is. Times are changing. We are empowered, independent, and expressing what we want. Absolutely. That is true. Let's get the next one. Who was that? That was D. What's up, D? Nice, thanks for joining in. Men can't be themselves based on social expectations. Being vulnerable is a key.
Absolutely.
True.
Absolutely.
Jeremiah, is that
that's our valedictorian.
Some women don't. You read that one.
Some women don't vulnerability. They want that power. Be around the people and the women partner you can, and want to be yourself all the time.
That's why I told you to read it, because I can.
Okay, hold on.
I was like, when they got the vulnerability,
some
I was
don't
like,
want vulnerability.
Right.
Okay. Some women don't like vulnerable men or take advantage of them, and men are scared of that vulnerable and intimate space because they have been exploited for it. So they are scared to be intimate. I agree.
That's a good one. Thanks for straightening that out for us.
Because you had me stumbling over there. Bad grammar, right? That's all right, Jay.
Thanks for straightening that out for us. Yeah, man, and that's one of the things I think the really just to nail it on the nose is emphasis. You know,
inconsistency, but I think he made a great point as well. Our lack of vulnerability, right? And it goes back because it's crazy. We're gonna tie all of that in.
It's all going
right later on
because
man.
It's crazy.
That
right?
lack of vulnerability allows her. It places doubt in her brain because you're operating with her on the surface. And for women, they need a deeper connection. And I think as men, because for so long we've been taught to avoid our emotions and to embrace our femininity, that we hold it in because of what he said. We're afraid of it being exploited. But I tell my men, I think that we need to be more vulnerable so it can be accepted more. Exactly. I think the more that women see our vulnerability, the more that they understand it, and the more that they care not to exploit it. But I think the more that we hide it and try to say, oh, okay, I'm all right, I'm okay. And I think the more that they feel that we're as concrete as we pretend to be. I think that that's why the moment that we show that small piece of vulnerability, they exploit it because it's like, now I got them. But if you're constantly expressing this vulnerability, but not just expressing it, but knowing how to live in it and operate within it, I think it changes that. So that's a great point, Jeremiah. Vulnerability for sure.
We got any more comments up there real quick? Nope. Okay. Man, are your pops in the house? I see Earl, you's in the house. I see you on Facebook, man. I don't see you on YouTube. I keep telling y'all, go to YouTube. We need y'all on there. Get to YouTube and subscribe. So just basically, I mean, that ties right into what we were talking about. Do you understand and manage femininity as a man? Femininity. I don't know why I'm tongue tied with it. Femininity. Femininity. I can't even do it.
Bad credit.
Femininity. I can't even. Why can't I do that? Femininity.
That's that Kansas City school. That's that Missouri school.
Roll right. Femininity. I cannot do it. I cannot say it.
But no, are we
Yeah.
Transition
into that? Yes.
I think that I actually proposed that question because dealing with my woman, and sometimes she pisses me off, right? And I had like 3 premonitions. Like I have 3 epiphanies back to back. I went on my thing on my Instagram and it was like, the problem with men is we don't understand our masculinity and what we are as men, and we let our women boom. And then I get to Costco gas and I go to pump my gas, and the dude that helped me, because I don't have a Costco card, I'm a finesser, y'all. So I go, and the dude that let me use his Costco card for the gas was talking about masculinity and how we, because of our toxic male masculinity and our egos, we allow certain things to dictate the way we live and how we react to things. And immediately, because I was going through it with my girlfriend, I use it as self-reflection. And I proposed the question to myself: am I operating in my femininity? And it's a tough question for a man to ask himself.
True. I mean, what is it? What is femininity to you? What is it to you?
I'm gonna tell you what it is, right? It's everything that we think women do, right? And I think that we're so opposed of it because it's a woman thing, right? But it's not, because men, I'm gonna go into it with you, right? We both have testosterone and estrogen.
Mm-hmm.
Women have more estrogen, men have more testosterone. But we both have that within us, right? Mm-hmm. And so I think that when we don't know and understand that there is estrogen in us, which creates a certain femininity within us, if we don't understand that, when these emotions are being tweaked and pulled on, we don't know how to properly process them. So I had to ask myself when he was talking like that, because I'm a man's man. I had to ask myself, damn, am I operating in my femininity? Mm-hmm. And if so, how do I manage that? And so I brought it to y'all.
Okay. A lot of that also, at least in my experience or belief, is a lot of that has to do with your upbringing.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And sometimes, you know what I'm saying, like you said, as guys, we were brought up just to, for the masculine. We were brought up to be strong, to be, not bothered, not to cry, all these type of things. You know what I'm saying? We was actually grown up to that, raised that way, whatever. Unlike myself, I was raised, my mom passed when I was 12, so I had 5 women that raised me, 5 aunts and my grandmother, and my sister, older sister, you know what I'm saying? So it was femininity was all around me. Mm-hmm. So I would always be in touch with my femininity with it as a man, because, just by being around them, but I had uncles or whatever that gave me that masculine, mm-hmm. that be tough type of thing, mm-hmm. or whatever the case may be. So I kind of have both of the best of both worlds. But sometimes you have families, or you have people that raised just one way, just raised by their parents, or just raised by their mother, or if they are both raised by their father and their mother, they're more so the husband, of course, is for the child, for the guy anyway, is going to be putting more masculinity into him, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And the mom or whatever, and sometimes they make the mom look, soft or weak, or, you know what I'm saying? So they don't give them that balance, mm-hmm. you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, or whatever, with a lot of upgrading people growing up now, they don't have that balance.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. In the world today, period.
Exactly. So
men
I think
don't
that's
have
one of
feminine traits, as if the world tells you.
Yeah.
We don't, and if you do, you're homosexual.
Yeah.
And let's just put it out there.
And that's what I was going to say. There. Yeah, I was going to get at that, because now you have those are, and I don't you guys don't come at me for this, but a lot of boys that are raised by just a mother and maybe just a woman in a household or whatever, they are more in touch with that infant, because of the fact that they're that's what they see. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? If they see a mom cries and the softness and all, that's what they're going to grow up being. And sometimes they end up being either gay, or bisexual, or whatever, you know what I mean? Because depending on how the outcome is, you know what I'm saying? So
is that from the embracing of the femininity, or is that not knowing? Is that like life shit, like being molested or being basically curious? Because I think that,
or not being able to balance the both.
That great point.
Great point.
But I think that we so relate femininity with sexuality, or we so relate femininity with being homosexual. Mm-hmm. And maybe that's not what made him like boys, or that's not what made her like girls. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. It could have been something else, but the femininity and being able to understand that may have made him different than other men. Mm-hmm. Because I think a big issue with us is the real reason why we out here running around killing shit is because we don't embrace the femininity. Mm-hmm. The moment a motherfucker say some shit to us that hurts our feelings, we shoot the fucking party up.
Exactly.
But really, it's not understanding and how to manage your femininity.
Yeah.
Because someone
hurt
you consider
that, and you consider it soft if you don't act on it. You consider it as
But you're a fool if you do.
Yeah.
Because you throw your life away because someone hurt your feelings.
Exactly.
And it's because you didn't know how to process. Damn, that's what just happened. My feelings were just hurt. He didn't disrespect me. Oh, check my body. I ain't bleeding. I'm not dead. Only thing hurt here is my feelings. And I think that when we start to understand that, a lot of less gun violence, a lot of depression within males will go away, because we understand, damn, all right. Oh, that's my feminine side. Oh shit, I do. Oh shit.
But see, that's the thing. The men are not going to recognize
but it's okay
as a feminine side. That's what I'm saying. It's like feminine is for the women, masculine is for the man. That's how we was basically.
But that's how we were taught.
But
it's very wrong.
Exactly. I mean, well, as time's going, I think we are more men are getting more involved or balanced with that or whatever, because you don't have because we're in a day and age now, man, where our communication with our loved ones or with our, as in a relationship or whatever, it has to have that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It has to have that or whatever in order to grow with each other. I have to understand certain things about a woman, and she has to understand certain things about, but I have to be able to share that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think it's getting better because we're doing this on the show.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But I mean, I think it's going, you know what I'm saying? Because it's not as bad as it used to be, because there has been a lot of people out there, relationship groups, coaches and stuff like that that has been helping to get people in touch with their feelings overall, period. Whether it's called masculine feelings, whether it's called feminine. I cannot say it. Femininity. I suck. Sound like a tongue twister, like a mug, man. Forgive me, my people.
Hey,
this is one for the day. I don't know.
Little ass gonna have to go to Hooked On Phonics after we get done with this.
I've been on Hooked On Phonics since I was 12.
That's Kansas City school, I told y'all no.
Let's get to the comments, man. While I get it. Fuel is silly. I'm not. For me, it's the fine line with what's that? Whining and being vulnerable for a man. Whining and being vulnerable. You hear that? A fine line between whining and
I think that becomes the issue.
That's the mistake that people look at.
That's where y'all get the lack of vulnerability from men, though, too, right? Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times I am whining, right? Because my fucking feelings are hurt, and I need you to understand that. But when
she looking at it like
see it as whining, and you see that men don't whine, then it makes me snap out of it, and then I take my vulnerability with me.
Yeah.
Right. So you have to also be able to embrace that and say, babe, it's going to be okay, but these are some solutions. But first, I may need you to pat me on my back and say, it's okay, and it is whining. I want to let you know that it's whining, and I need you to correct the whining instead of
whine sometimes.
No, I'm a whine, but I need you to understand why and what's going on. And then the more you embrace it, I stop whining and I start articulating. Do you get what I'm saying? The more you stop, because now, oh shit, she listening. Okay, let me articulate this a little bit better.
It opens up.
Let me open up a little more, because now I don't have to be emotional when I'm expressing my emotions.
Yeah.
I can just speak on them and articulate them properly instead of yelling and whining about them. But originally it's gonna come out that way because no one listens to us, or so we feel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Great point.
Yeah, you almost. Yeah, you feel like you. I don't think you. You bitten a little bit off.
I can't.
You bitten a little bit. I see you, big dog.
I'm excited today.
I ain't mad at you. Nick is in the house. Nick is in the house. Daisy, I see you.
I can't ready. Yeah, you on
it. Right? Femininity. I don't even want to see it no more.
So where we at?
Is the emotional part of men just like a logic? Just like logic is a masculine side of women.
Okay.
Logic
like
is
that,
masculine side of women.
I like that.
Yeah. Get the next one. Go ahead, dog.
I got you. Oh, I am both hard and soft. And I dislike when men tell me to act like a woman. How do you act like a woman? I am who I am.
Okay, D.
Absolutely. I think that the issue comes when you try to be more of a man than he is, right? Ooh. I think when you let your masculinity.
So what if a man? If
vice versa?
Vice versa. If a man try to be more of a woman,
right? It's the same thing, right?
Yeah, but it's not a good look.
Balance on both sides, though.
Exactly.
On both sides.
On both sides.
If you give her too much femininity, it's just gonna be like, okay, I'm not used to this. I'm not understanding. But then you can't be too masculine either. And then because I think we do that a lot, is when they can't handle this, just they couldn't handle me. But maybe we have to change our approach, right, with your masculinity and understand when to be masculine and when to be feminine. And then you won't get those things by saying that you're too masculine. I take from that is that a lot of times, because you're such an independent woman, that you come off masculine because you don't ask a motherfucker for shit. But a lot of times when you're dealing with a man who isn't intact with his femininity, that can be seen as you're trying to overstep or take from his masculinity. Right? It'll take a certain kind of man to understand, okay, she's just a strong woman.
Yeah.
And I have to be able to navigate and operate her as such.
I'm gonna be a little
You gonna play devil's advocate?
Yeah,
Come on, big dog.
Yeah,
I'm ready for you.
Well, I mean, because you just made a point of women, being masculine or whatever at times. Is there a choice? You know what I'm saying? Or it's only good in a situation. Just like she said, she's both. So say like when we get into a altercation with somebody outside, you know what I'm saying? Is our masculinity going to kick in and help a nigga out? I'm just
something
saying.
is wrong with this man.
No, but seriously though, I mean, because I
definitely know that's when she gonna put the masculinity up there.
They'll be like, no, nigga, this was on you.
No, this is your
thing
part.
Right here. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? So is it to the point where it's how can I put it? What's the word? A time or
right? It's a balance.
But
balance.
What's that balance? So say for instance, just like our viewer just mentioned or whatever, she's both. You know what I'm saying? Where's the balances in that or whatever? You know what I mean?
Well,
because that's just her
lead and allowing to let him be a man. If you are so masculine if you're so masculine that you're not allowing him to be masculine, that becomes an issue, and vice versa. Right. If he's so in tune and constantly whining and shit and not allowing you to embrace your femininity,
it's like you are now allowing her to be masculine.
Yeah, if she is that, it goes back to what we were saying. You can't kill her voice, right? Mm-hmm. I can't say because I met a masculine woman and she has masculine traits that I'm going to kill her voice because I feel like she's killing my masculinity. Yeah. I think that's an ego part on our side as well.
So you going to feel feminine when you in the kitchen?
Absolutely.
When you're in the kitchen and she's in the other room and she's talking about, come here, nigga. Get your ass in here.
I don't think she meant it like that.
I know. I'm just
teasing. I think that's just
I'm just teasing, man.
Now you think the thug named Ray Ray after that relationship no more.
I'm just teasing. Comments.
We in there.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you guys. I'll see y'all in the house. Oh my goodness, there's so many comments. What's that? No, it was one for Victor. What was it going back down? Victor, yeah. What's up, Vic? We ain't got one from you, man. Let's get one for Vic. It's another one. I think it's a continue. Go up.
You already read the first one.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, fat boy.
And in a relationship, both the man and the woman must work to control opposite side of their personalities.
Yes.
For sure.
Yes. Yes. Nick is in the house. We see you, Nick. Appreciate y'all. Who's that, Latrice?
Yep. She says we're already teaching my 4-year-old son how to express the emotions that he is feeling. Now that he's becoming more aware of them, I don't want him to feel like he has to bottle up his emotions. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now that's I think that's the hard part. And I think that's the hard part for when they're so young and to tap in their infant, their feminine side. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes when you're teaching them that young, I think they grow up making a choice.
Yeah, I think that
of what side that they are
for sure.
And wanting to be, you know what I mean?
But
which I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but
within that and picking that side, right? I think that if you give them a choice at a young age, like she's doing at 4 years old, when the stereotypical toxic male masculinity comes his way, he'll be able to understand it as that, right? Mm-hmm. He won't be able to take it as a benchmarker and he goes by it. Because he understands, well, shit, at my house, I've been expressing my feelings. Right. At my house, I know how to tell when I'm getting ready to cry.
Right.
And then, so when a man tell him that men don't cry, he's going to automatically know that that's bullshit.
Right.
And so he's already going to be able to decipher because he's been taught discernment between what's handling my emotions and what's bottling my emotions. Let's get to it. We got guests in here, y'all. We're gonna go to
check what time is. Yeah. Let's hit the commercial, you guys. And we got a special guest in the house, y'all. We're gonna introduce them in a minute, but let's get this commercial real quick. All right.
Broadcasting, the place to be for your video recording and voiceover needs. Want to be a podcaster? You can rent this beautiful studio space for a low and reasonable price. We have dynamic lighting to set the tone, on-site engineer, fully equipped with top-of-the-line quality video recording, and more. So make your appointment now by emailing firedupbroadcasting@gmail.com. See you soon.
Yep.
And we're back.
Uh-oh.
All right, you guys. Appreciate you guys.
Been waiting for.
Yes. How should I introduce these guys, man? Let me see if I can do this right. Let me see if I can do this right. Let's see. Her specialty is non-monogamy, spiritualish practice and stuff. That's what it says. Emotional wellness and practice. Sensitive people, empaths. My language.
Today you off today.
Sucks.
We add new words to everybody.
Yeah. Put it on TikTok. And he's a coach, right? Passion helping new partners identify and confront potential general relationships and non-monogamy conflict and challenges, helping men to confront their personal struggle and supporting their partner's desires. Help me welcome Mr. and Mrs. I don't want to say it wrong, man. LaSane is in the house with us, you guys. How y'all doing?
Good. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Topics.
Yeah. The topics definitely got me excited.
And they flow so well with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree. Thank y'all. We appreciate. Thank y'all for coming though.
Thanks for having
Thank you for having me. And I'm ready for y'all to game us up. So I first want to just ask, because we talked about it off camera, but I want y'all to tell the people, right? First, where you guys from? Let's start there.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, I'm originally from Washington, D.C. I've lived all over. I was in the military. So I've lived all over the world, all over the United States. So yeah, I've been out here about 20 years now. So yeah.
Yeah, and I'm from here, LA, Los Angeles, born and raised. Grew up a little bit in East LA and kind of everywhere in the San Gabriel Valley area. But yeah.
Okay. That's what's up.
Okay, so man.
We're gonna get the dome. We're gonna jump
well, because this is like I said, it's more of an educational thing for me as well. So one of the questions is, because we tend to connect to what can, this non-monogamy as something wrong, as something bad, you know what I'm saying? So how do one get into the mindset of such a relationship? Just kind of like just the mindset of it, because we always think it's like, that's some crazy stuff, or this might be, you know what I'm saying?
So it's funny because everybody always talk about how crazy non-monogamy is, right? But
right.
The truth of the matter is that a lot of people out here in non-monogamous relationships,
they don't know
it or not.
Yeah.
Sure. It's just how we view it, right? It's just changing the narrative, So I think that if people had choice from an earlier age, we had a better sexual education system, right? We had more information around what types of relationships are out there. I think that people wouldn't just choose the monogamous type of relationship because there's so many different dynamics, right? And just imagine having a choice, right? And knowing that you have a choice and you don't have to just choose the one thing, because we know that one thing doesn't fit all. And all of us are trying to fit into one size cookie cutter right now, right? And there's so many failed relationships at this point, because we feel like, oh man, it's not that the system is broke, it's that you're broken. But it's not that we're broken. We're not broken. Maybe something's wrong with the system, but we keep trying to be better at the system that doesn't already work. And so it's just really just looking within ourselves and just kind of seeing what is really for us. Like what do I want? And that comes through exploration, right? We can explore so many different options. And when it comes to relationships, you can try out many different things. And once you figure out, through trial and error what you like, and now you can be more forthcoming, and somebody can choose because they have the information if they want to be with you or not. So yeah.
I'm curious. I just thought of this. And I was wondering if we could do it. I was wondering if we could ask your followers what they think non-monogamy is, or like, I'm so curious to hear. Is that something we could do?
Absolutely.
Like,
that's what they're here for.
Yeah, like non-monogamy, because we're using this where we went right into the interview about it.
Right.
But like, what the hell is it even?
Yeah.
You know. And when we met, to be honest, I mean, I was young when we met, but when we met, I didn't even. It's not that I didn't know what monogamy was, but we don't use that word. We don't talk about it. And the assumption of relationships is monogamy. So we just don't have it. We didn't know there was like a word for it or a name. So even monogamy was like, what does that even mean? What is that? So I'm curious
to know everybody knows what it means.
What does it mean? And not that there's like a hard definition, but what do they think we're talking about today?
So I'm working on this air conditioner.
So non-monogamy. Does anybody?
Just real quick, just so everybody know, we've been together for 20 years now.
Yes.
We have 3 boys together, and we have a baby on the way. So we have the longevity.
That goes into my question, right? That goes into my question, because we did jump right into it. But I wanted to know, right, because there is such a negative connotation towards being non-monogamous, right? How do you guys maintain the flame between you two, and then also keep out outside opinions, right? Because it has such this negative connotation. And like you said, you guys have been thriving successfully for 20 years, right? 3 children. And so that they have to see a certain level of love, a certain level of respect. How are we maintaining that in a place where it's seen so negative, right? How are you guys doing that?
Yeah. What was the second question? You said maintaining the flame and
then also keeping out outside influence. This was the word I was
keeping
using.
Outside influence. Yeah. I want to answer that second one because I'm human. So I don't always keep out the influence. And it's real. You know, there is a lot of stigma around non-monogamy. I mean, we have the privilege to be open and to share. But even in that, is vulnerable as fuck to say it, to admit, to share with people that this is our dynamic. But at the same time, just throughout the years that we've been together, we haven't always been this open. So throughout we started off and nobody, you know, but over the years, I think it's just that being able to step more into who we are, being able to, it just feels so good. It's like, okay, we could do this. Man, we're meeting other people, and they're like us too, and they're regular ass people, and they have families as well, and we have good friendships, and I get to express myself sexually and all these things. And so I think the more that we were able to do that, it was like we didn't want to go backwards. We didn't want to go back into the box. We didn't want to have to contain ourselves and whatever. And we wanted to just share. We wanted to share. We found what works for us, and it felt good. And that it wasn't just about, having sex with different people. It really was the connections that we were making, the friendships that we were making, and how that became a catalyst for questioning other parts of our lives.
Right.
And I say this all the time, like education, and what do we want education to look like in our family? We started off with traditional education, and our son challenged us to do homeschooling, parenting, all these things. And so after a while, it's like, there is no going back, and I just want to be me. But also we understand that we have the privilege to do that. And we've just kind of slowly been being ourselves. And I think we speak for it. Like, we don't have to convince anybody. People meet us, they learn about us, they see us, they're part of our lives, our households, and they're like, oh yeah. I mean, and they might not choose it for themselves, but they're like, oh yeah, I see it works for you guys. Or even if it doesn't seem like it works, they're like, we like you guys.
They're living in it. You guys are living in your truth.
Yeah,
and exactly. For us, like when we first started out 20 years ago, we didn't have anybody to go to. There was no YouTube channels. There was there was nobody on Instagram or whatever to help us with this information. So we had to go through our trials and tribulations alone by ourselves, and we kind of had to struggle through it. So that's what kind of put us on the path to wanting to help normalize this for everybody, for other people, and try to educate and help people work through their own issues. That's why we even started to start down this path. And it's like she said, because we're privileged, the reason we're privileged is because we chose to put ourselves out there. Like, look, we know that other people out here struggling. We would love to help you because we didn't have the help.
Right.
And if we can help you, by all means, come to us because we've been through it. We know what you're going through. We know what you're dealing with. And there's a lot of people out here. On the contrary to belief of what people may believe, when I tell you, there's a lot of people out here who are in different types of relationships who seek out help, but they just aren't in a position to let a lot of people know about their life.
Yeah, and I think the more that we have people like yourselves discussing it openly or whatever, the more other people are to understand and actually, will want to be in the same non-monogamy type of relationship because it's almost, I want to say, I want to call it a trend, but it's almost, it kind of evolves like that. You know what I'm saying? Unless somebody really knows what's going on or see other people doing it or whatever, and then find out, oh, I could be happy this way.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, but I guess
trend or not, I think people are intrigued by it.
That part.
They're intrigued and they're like, wait a minute, and they think about themselves, like, can I do? And they start asking themselves questions. And I think that is the beautiful part about non-monogamy or opening up a relationship if you're already in a relationship. Right. And it's just really about opening up our minds about it. It's expanding our ideas and our beliefs about relationships. What makes us feel good? We start asking ourselves questions that I think we don't often, that we neglect to ask, in relationships in general, especially in monogamous relationships, because there's a lot of assumptions. Not putting monogamy down. I support monogamy, but
can you give us like an example as to what you guys went through? You know what I mean? That's just an example of something maybe negative that may have occurred within a relationship to the point where y'all had to get through it or get over it. Because I think that's one of the things that everyone, of course, is thinking is, oh, it's going to be, crazy stuff if I end up getting serious with somebody else, or if someone ends up being closer than what we really expect them to be and stuff like that. Can you guys give any like example?
Which one do you want to talk about?
You said which one?
I'll let you choose.
So we're pretty transparent with our story and who we are. So when we started out in the swingers world, right?
Okay.
This is 20 years ago, right? And, it was and so in the swingers world, this is, and mind you, that's just a different dynamic of non-monogamy, because there's so many different dynamics, right? That's just one of many.
Oh, okay.
Right? So because you have poly, anyways, we can go on all.
Right.
So basically, right. So in the swinger world, people, it's known that people have casual sex, right? And without any emotions attached to it, right? You don't get emotionally attached to anybody. It's just a sexual thing, right?
Right.
And so, but the truth is that people do get
absolutely.
People do get jealous. People do. I'm not talking about jealous of your partner. You may get jealous of somebody that you was with before, who you may like. They may hang out with somebody else.
Right.
So who do you talk to about this?
Right.
Like, so you have nobody to talk to. So then you struggle with that. So then, you may have conflict with your partner because your partner is recognizing that you are having some emotional reactions over somebody else who is engaging with somebody else. Right. And so now you have some conflict, to have to work through because of feelings and emotions that was never spoken about. Right. Because that's not a thing, supposedly, right? And so for us, we recognize that early on, and we realize that there are feelings and emotions attached. And so, and maybe that's not the dynamic for us because.
But before we said maybe that's not the dynamic for us, it was a struggle, and even within the community that we were a part of, we still couldn't even really talk about it then because we didn't want to be the weird couple.
Right.
Just
to be the one that
I mean,
truth, right?
There was comments actually made like, oh, they're making love or whatever, and it's like, no, they're just enjoying themselves. They're just like really in it and present, and they have a connection or whatever. It doesn't even have to be a whole entire relationship, but it was just really conflicting sometimes, where it was like, okay, we're here to have sex, but don't enjoy yourself too much.
Right.
Yeah. Don't like it too much.
I don't know how to do that.
I don't know how to do that. And that's not pleasurable.
Right.
Pleasurable. But we still to today, I still deal with it sometimes where I'm kind of in my head of like, oh wow, this is feeling really good, but man, like what do I do with this? And so we I don't know, what did we do? We focused on the connection, the friendships that we had. And then we recognized that kind of everybody was experiencing the same thing. Everybody was like, oh, we I like this person, or I'm enjoying this person, or whatever, but they didn't want to talk about it or whatnot. So
so what we did was we kind of, we found people who thought more like us.
Right. That's what I was going to ask you. How do you?
We created friendships with those people, and then we decided we moved as a unit and went to another dynamic. Right. So now we've expanded, we've grown, and we've outgrown. Not to say that we were better than anybody, but we just
outgrown the sweeter scene.
So we changed what we were looking for, and now we were able to express those things and have conversations with the people that we were hanging out with. And we're all ever evolving, right? We're ever growing, and so and that's kind of how we kind of transition from one thing to another.
Okay. Answer a question earlier, like to our viewers that wanted to know what monogamy is, non-monogamy is different from what did they say? Polygamy? Is there? I can't see.
Yeah, that's
so again, that's just another form of non-monogamy, right? Because what is non-monogamy? Right. And what is monogamy? Monogamy is one person, right? Non-monogamy is multiple people. So again, it's just a form of non-monogamy. That's all. It's just another form.
Yeah.
So just
some dynamics might focus more on sex, or some dynamics might focus on relationships and connections, and we might, in different reasons and different goals and different, people involved and there's so many different ways, and there's some examples in terms that people are probably familiar with are polygamy, polyamory, open relationships, what else, monogamish, where you're monogamous, you might monogamish. Yeah, it's a term that was coined by, I think
it's kind of like
Dan Savage, but
it's like, so basically think of it this way, you're not actually physically engaging with people, but in monogamous relationship, you're not allowed to flirt with anybody, right? Within a monogamous relationship, you may be allowed to flirt. Maybe you can flirt, or hang out, have friends, at a level of non-sexual, but like
a certain level of intimacy.
Or that maybe you do it occasionally, or when you're out of town and you want to have fun, but for the most part, you're pretty monogamous, and so monogamous is pretty wide open.
I'm sorry to cut you.
No, go ahead.
Like, how do we? Because when we're sleeping with others, right, we are gaining soul ties, right? How are you guys creating that transparency within communication, right? Because say, right, I sleep with a woman and I love it, right? How are you guys communication with that? Is there an open table policy of when it happens, speak to me on it, or what's the communication like? What's the transparency like within that communication?
Yeah. So how we kind of look at it is like, if we're interacting with someone, right? If things start to progress or change, then we have a conversation about it. Like, hey, so things are kind of changing or going in this direction. So, there's always, because people always, the question is, are you worried about somebody falling in love and them just leaving you, right? I will never just wake up and she just say, I'm out. Because we would have already had many conversations before that would even come to that, right? We would have had conversations 6 months ago, right? And so, I would know what's going on, and she would know what's going on. Hey, look, my feelings of this or whatever, and that's not. And again, that doesn't take away anything from me or her because I have feelings for somebody else. This doesn't make her less like we have 20 years of history, right? We can't do that, right? We have kids together, we have responsibility, we have all these things together. Like that doesn't. Sorry, it just is that just doesn't go away, right? We built memories, we built things, a life together. So someone else who comes in, that's different. It's not the same, right? It's not taken away from. It's not, it's probably adding to, because now, to the question earlier when you guys were talking about, long-term relationships and a woman losing interest within a relationship, right? This may, not to say that you need this thing or whatever, but sometimes when you hang out with somebody, you get to appreciate the person that you're with even more. You know what I mean? Or you come home with a different type of energy now. You know what I mean? Because you were out hanging out. Maybe you didn't have sex or anything, but you just had a great time.
Right.
And now you come home with all that energy. There's so many different benefits, because a lot of people look at the negatives, but there's so many benefits, So.
And everybody does, again, I'm going to keep saying this, everybody does it different. Right. I know you asked how we do it, but I do want to say that everybody's dynamic is different. And so some people share a lot more details and information and insights than other couples or that don't. And two, really quick, we we think that it's about couples, but non-monogamy is not just about couples.
Oh,
there
really?
are single people who are non-monogamous as well too, or people
You
who
can
are
be
not
single
partnered or solo or whatever. Yes,
I might have to
absolutely.
know.
Well, first of all, let's see. Dating is a form of non-monogamy.
That's what I was just saying. Like, because you just basically,
exactly.
Yeah.
So anybody dating non-monogamous.
Mess with whoever.
We have to, and I love this kind of show, right? This kind of topic, right? Because we were just talking about the ignorance, right? We have to start to take away this ignorant connotation that we give words, right? We give non-monogamy or monogamy have never been a good or bad word,
right?
But it's because we hear
it's
it
what the life we give
negativity,
exactly.
Right? We give it this light, and we have to start to take away that and inform people. No, when you were dating, you were being non-monogamous, right? I think you made a great point. A lot of men are in non-monogamous relationships and don't know it. Hence, your girlfriend has a side nigga. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa. Your guy has a side girl. Those are non-monogamous relationships. Actually, non-monogamous relationships are actually being perpetuated.
Yes. Yeah.
There is the term the community likes to use, consensual or ethical non-monogamy, to kind of like discern from cheating or infidelity or whatnot, and that this isn't intentional. I mean, words, we're still trying to find good words. I don't like any of them.
Right.
Look, and myself, so I do a men's group every other Tuesday, right? And I'm trying to help men be honest, right? As single men, right? Be honest in your intentions and what you're looking for and what you want, right? Because imagine telling somebody exactly who you are and what you want, and they're accepting you for you. That's gonna be an amazing relationship, opposed to lying, and being dishonest, and then they figure who you are in a couple months, and then
and they definitely.
And I think that's one of the hardest things though to be with someone and be that open. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, like, we need someone like you, of course, to know how to approach in that way. Because if I was to just start a relationship with someone and I let them know, hey, look, I want to be non-monogamous. So I want to go and do whatever, and you do whatever, and then
okay,
it's not going. You know what I'm saying?
But are you approaching it as seeing other people?
So I hear you, right? So I'm about to. So for instance, when I met her, right, I have no idea what she's going to say to me or not. But I was already married for 8 years, and I failed right, because I was a cheater.
You was doing right.
So by the time I met her, well, I didn't fail. Yes, I cheated within my relationship.
It just didn't go
right. So, exactly. So when I met her, I'd already decided I was going to be honest, and whoever I met, and if I had met somebody who I felt like I wanted to be with, I felt like I wanted to be with her. So one of the very first conversations we had before we ever engaged in anything physical, I said to her, "Hey, so I don't know if I believe in monogamy. I don't think I can be in a monogamous relationship, and I don't. And so I want to tell you that up front, And so now my fear is that she could tell me, okay, cool, I appreciate the honesty, but now I'm good, which I would rather her do that, because I could have lied, and then it wasn't going to be sustainable for me in about a year or two, right? Yeah. So I was honest, and she accepted me, and so that I was honest from the very beginning.
Yeah. And you accepted me too.
Of course.
I'm just saying. I said I jokingly say that because there's often this narrative that like men are the ones who push this, and and women want it too. Women want to be open. They want to explore themselves and their sexualities. They want to have the freedom of connections and relationships as well too.
Right.
So it doesn't just come from men, and women just agree and be like, okay.
Now did you like as far as like you said, been able for you to accept him at that point in time, was that already something that you was interested in as well, or it just had to grow, or you had to kind of like open up right then, like, well, shoot, I can do this now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, kind of both. So when I met him, I didn't know what non-monogamy meant. I didn't know there was such a thing or a word. But I knew I was young. I knew that I wanted to still explore. There was things that I was still curious about, and I was, noticing that I was a sexual person, and I still wanted to explore. And I think that was kind of the core of our conversation of like, well, I don't want that to stop. You're amazing, and this feels great, and I would like to explore this with you, but also I don't want to give this up either. And so that's kind of how it started. But in terms of like, did I already know? I didn't really know it was a thing.
Right.
To know
Until he kind of brought it up and talked about it in this way.
Yeah.
You know, I think had we not, I probably would have, I don't know, eventually maybe told him that I still wanted to explore.
Right.
And then who knows? It might not have worked out because he
would
have been like,
exploring.
what? Yeah. He was already exploring, and we'd be like, you should tell me.
Transparency, right? I think allow both things, right? It allowed you to make a choice, and then it allowed you to make a choice.
Right.
And I think that both people, right, both parties entered with an understanding. So it takes out a lot of confusion.
Right.
Right. I think that also when we hear non-monogamy, we think that there's a lack of communication and deceit going on.
Yeah.
Right. And I think what you guys have just displayed is that there's not. Right there is actually a lot of transparency and communication that has to happen for this thing to actually be successful. And I think that that's a big part of the non-monogamy that we need to get people to understand, because it's not cheating, right? It's an understanding of one's sexual wants and then also one's emotional wants, and understanding how to handle that and operate that within the relationship you have with another person. Exactly. So that's actually amazing.
That's before we got a lot of comments there. I know that's one thing.
We ain't here today. I told y'all.
Open relationship with boundaries and communication that allows to explore other partners without losing the foundation of your relationship.
That's right, Mom.
That's what Mom's hit us with the meaning. You know, Marshall, no, we're not going to read on Marshall. Marshall's our crazy viewer.
And the thing is, like,
he's what is cheating in a non-monogamy relationship? What is cheating? No, that's a good question.
What is cheating in a non-monogamous relationship? Come on, talk to me, y'all.
It's not so much cheating. It's so we create boundaries, right? Everybody has boundaries, right?
Agreements.
Agreements, yes, agreements. And so obviously within those agreements, the agreements can be broken. You know, and then now you need to read it. You know, you need to have a conversation about why was the agreement broken? What happened that this agreement was broken? Exactly.
So and we maybe not necessarily call it cheating, but essentially that's what cheating is. And Esther Perel, she's a great relationship therapist, and she talks about what is cheating, and cheating can be so many things, and ultimately it's just basically saying like, that an agreement was broken. You know what I mean? And there wasn't maybe any communication about it or whatever, but an agreement was broken. So yes, it can still happen in non-monogamous relationships in the same way that it happens in monogamous relationships.
Now, have y'all experienced that as well? At
broken agreements?
To go back to the table and.
Yes. We've both been on the other on both ends.
I told you here, sure, right?
Yeah, and absolutely. So I want to clarify for our story, for the sake of our story, that the cheating wasn't necessarily that I did this thing behind your back with this person. I went and had sex with this person. It does happen for some people. That wasn't necessarily our story, and but yes, we have broken agreements where it was like. It could be anything. I mean, it really could. I'm like trying to think of something, but
getting too attached, maybe.
No, not attached.
It can be,
but it could be like something as simple as a work relationship. Like hey, because we know that you spend most of your time at work, so now you have a relationship because. We know that work husbands and work wives.
Right.
And actually, that was one of our agreements. We're like, okay, we're not, we're gonna kind of keep that
no work boots.
No work boots. Yeah, we're gonna be like, and then that really,
you
got
a boo.
You're like, but damn. And I will be honest, and it happened in the way where like. I was just like you came to me about it and I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. I'm kind of uncomfortable with it, And like 2 weeks later, then I met somebody and it was like, so
now
now that's the other thing too. Now do because the other person does something or whatever, you feel like that you have to do it, or it just happens.
It just happens.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like a vengeance. It's not like you're gonna get a workbook. I'm gonna get a workbook.
I see it as the universe being like, all right, we're gonna teach you both a lesson.
Like, right.
For sure.
Like and
then y'all both come together like we don't want no workbook.
Exactly. And it was it became one of our biggest lessons. It ended up being a lesson because we were like, why did we have that agreement in the first place?
Right.
Oh, we didn't really have a good reason to have that agreement. We just felt scared. I was fear that
avoiding those insecurities. How do we do that? Right? How are we avoiding those insecurities? And if we don't, when they happen, how are we dealing with these insecurities?
So I had to learn as a man, my ego is very fragile.
Beats
All
ours.
of me, all of us, for the most part, most men's ego are very fragile, right? And so I had to let go. I had to really look within. She challenged me a lot. I'm not gonna lie. She challenged me a lot in a lot of my ideas, ideologies, my views, my concepts. And so I had to. And she would ask me questions that would like, damn, that's a deep question. And so I had to look within, and I had to ask myself like, okay, why am I feeling like that? What is coming up for me? Why am I not okay with this? Because I'm okay with it for me, but why am I not okay with it for her? And so when I started to answer those questions to myself, it opened me up to a different way of thinking and receiving her.
That's a jewel.
And so what I know in that, a lot of men, we may not see it as this, but and I'm not a woman, but I've been trying, but this is what I've been speaking about lately. Women are really oppressed sexually. And so they're so oppressed that they repress themselves sexually. And so if women were allowed to be in their own space and to be, I think that we would get a different version of how women would show up in the world. Women shame each other so bad.
Yeah. I guess I can agree to that as to even within a relationship, it happens where, say for instance, what's the saying? A freak in the sheep, a
lady in the streets, but a freak in
the
sheep.
sheep. Yeah, lady in the street, freak in the sheep. You know what I'm saying? That mentality, like you said, sometimes they compress that outside of the husband or the relationship that you're in or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So I get what you're saying.
So much so that at one point within our relationship, I've tried to control her to an extent, right? I've oppressed her to an extent. And so when I did that, she shut down parts of herself. And so when she shut down parts of herself, she couldn't even show up for me sexually, let alone herself or anybody else.
Right.
So now nobody's getting anything,
right.
Because of
your selfishness,
because of my insecurities.
Yes, right.
Yes, because of my insecurities, right? And so, and when something had happened to where she actually got to hang out or go out or whatever, and she came back so differently, I could see it. I could see the difference.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. And so then I could speak about like, man, so when you are able to be within yourself, I do get the benefits of that. And that feels so much better, for you to, I love when you're able
to be
to show
around
up
the house and depressed.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Okay. That was what you guys were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah, exactly.
No, 100%. That's why it's relatable.
But I think it's I love the conversation you were having earlier because I think it's true for both men and women. I went in time we have like a conversation about men and women, and I get so like antsy because I'm like, I can't do that. I don't want to, because I think that sure there are differences, but I think we're more similar. I think we're more similar than we are different. And I think that the reason why that we lose interest or whatever is because both men and women, like, we both aren't able to just be ourselves, our full selves, and we become disinterested in the relationship
within
or whatever,
a relationship,
within the relationship. And so I love that you two were having the conversation, but I think it's true for both men and women. Men equally do not have a space, to be themselves. And I know
any of it.
It always
that's a little controversial for me to say, but I see it all the time, with men as well. And so I think that non-monogamy is a tool. It is a framework. It is a pathway to be able to challenge those norms. You know what I mean?
So
here, get
good comment. I got a good question.
Because I know they like they gonna talk to us.
They gonna talk to us. We got a great. Let's get this question. My sister wants to know. Her Latrice wants to know, how do you overcome the jealousy of it? Ever come about?
If it ever come about, that's what she's trying to say.
Yeah.
So how do you deal with the jealousy if it ever comes up?
So I'll go first for myself, because I've dealt with it. For me, it's like finding ways to figure out what I need to do for myself. Like a lot of times for me, jealousy will come up when I'm not feeling good about myself, right? When either my self-esteem is low, my confidence is low, maybe because around career or money, whatever the case may be. So when I'm not feeling good about myself, everybody's a threat. Everything's like a threat to me. Like, oh, is she gonna like him more than me because he does this thing or he has this, right? But it's ultimately me, right? And so when I'm able to recognize that and acknowledge and know, okay, cool, I'm in a low space right now. I'm able to understand that. So now, what do I need to do for myself? Because it's not her. So why do I need to make her suffer for my own feelings, right? What I'm going through, right? And so everybody deals with jealousy, right? But it's how we respond to the jealousy,
right?
Or the jealous feelings, right?
Okay.
So,
that right there. Yeah, you've heard that. Have you heard the saying like relationships are mirrors to ourselves? Like, have you heard that saying?
I have not.
Yeah. So there's like the saying that relationships are mirrors to ourselves. Like relationships are the epitome example of shit being mirrored back to you, your own shit.
Right,
you know what I mean? The good stuff and the challenging stuff. And so that's what's going to happen. And jealousy included. And the way that I like to talk about it is jealousy is an emotion, just like any other emotion. And so if we can just have some acceptance of it in that way and just know like, oh, it's like the other day I was sad and I didn't judge myself for being sad. I'm not going to judge myself for being jealous. And I think that's what ends up happening somehow, somewhere. And I got to go figure this out. Somehow, somewhere, jealousy became the emotion that you do not want to be. For some reason, like we all like, we don't want to be jealous. Or we go the opposite of like, fuck that, I'm jealous and I'm in the period and whatever. But it's just like any other emotion. So if we kind of take the time to be in that feminine energy, which is not about gender, femininity, masculinity is not about gender.
It's not at all.
It's a way of being. It's an energy. It's a flow. So if we take some time to reflect, to pause for a moment, not to react, to ask ourselves, what is coming up for me?
That makes me feel that way.
And then we talk about it.
Let's go. Point with that. Let's give to that.
Real quick, I want to say, and when those things come up for you, you know, if we can change the narrative, we can look at it like, oh, okay, so this is basically what it's showing me is where I need work at, where I need that healing at, right? This is that work. It's showing me with the work that I need and where I need to heal.
Bar. That's a bar.
And that's true of all relationships. And I'm telling you, everything we talk about is true of all relationships.
Yeah, this can go universal. I'm taking a lot of this to mine. Absolutely.
It's just that I think non-monogamy kind of, it's just there. I don't know. There's communities out there. There's spaces. There's research, things like that we kind of we go for. We want it. We're like, give it to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Next topic. Y'all ready?
Yeah, because I seen it and I wanted,
non-monogamy is the most popular thing going right now, and everyone is not courageous enough to say it.
That
okay, pops.
Actually, and how I guess I can't even get it out. Come
on, clean it.
Femininity.
Femininity. I talk about femininity to you. No, I, because of that comment, what he just said or whatever is going on, and we just don't recognize it, or how do I don't know? Like, how do you know that that's what's going on?
Well, you
like,
realize
how do you realize
you're not a monogamous person? I think that
on that person.
I think we try to. You guys made a perfect point. We all try to fit ourselves into this monogamous box, but if you can't properly be monogamous to someone else, then you're not a monogamous person. Right. And I think that non-monogamy would be better for you if you approach the situation like that. And then also take away that energy from saying that it's a negative thing. I'm just being open and honest and saying that I can't date you and only you.
Yeah.
Right. I think that a lot of cheating will be alleviated because you have people who are open and saying, hey, I want to see other people. I love you. I love the bond that we built together, and we can build something for 20 years and have 3 children. But is there going to be times in this relationship that I'm going to need my needs and my needs met, right? And you can't do that, but that doesn't change the relationship that we have. And I think that we enter it like that, it changes the idea of what we think, because you hit it on the head. A lot of people are in non-monogamous relationships right now, whether they like it or not, because you're dealing with someone that is not dealing solely with you, or you're pretending to deal with someone and you're not solely dealing with them. And so there's basically a cap, right? You're trying to fit yourself into this lie and this identity, which later on is affecting your peace, and then also affecting the way that you deal with this person, because you can't properly give them all of you if you're trying to be in different places.
So
I'm glad you understand it a lot more than me. Because
I was gonna say that's exactly how you do it.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
You start to question yourself and ask, and like, what is it about? Do I like? And I mean, that's really where it starts, because we can even get putting ourselves in a box, and even in non-monogamy.
Right.
And I think that's what scares people is that they feel like, oh well, if I'm non-monogamous, and that means this, and this, and it has to look like this, and and it's like, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. Let's simplify it and just talk about who we are. Let's just share with our partners and be open about what our values are. At the end of the day, what we came to realize is like, oh, we both really value connections with other people, and we want the freedom to allow that to happen organically when we meet people. That's, at the end of the day, that's the core of our non-monogamy. And how that looks is going to change, is going to shift. We can talk about it, we can agree, all these things, but let's not get scared and then do the opposite in the non-monogamy, where we're like putting ourselves in a box. Let's just talk openly about the things that we enjoy, that bring us joy, and that we want to continue, whether we're in a relationship or not.
I think that just educating ourselves around the ideas around non-monogamy, right? And I think that a question that keeps coming up, is around emotional attachment, right?
Right.
And so to answer the question, because I think that some people probably didn't want to hear, like we are okay with emotional connections with people. We're not like we recognize we're human. We're going to have emotional connections, and then sometimes that does look like love, or it is love. You can fall in love with somebody else. You can have these loving feelings for other people. Again, that doesn't take away from the person that you're with, right? Because I think that the issue around love, when it comes to it, is like we can have multiple kids and love all the kids, but as soon as you add sex into the idea of being with somebody and loving them, now it changes everything, right? But it's still love. It's okay. It's love with sex, but it's still love.
I still feel that. I love all my women. When I had a bunch of women, and women used to be like, how can you love multiple? I said, I love each woman. Has a unique thing that I love about them
100%
differently.
Yeah.
And so
it's something that you love about them, but it's
each
not the
one
fact
of them
that you
different.
actually
Now, am I in love?
Is that a
with
different
them?
type of love, though? That's the thing.
No, I think that it's a form of love, right? I don't think there's types. I think love comes in different ways, right? I can love you as a friend, right? But then I can love you intimately. I can love you for the way that you treat me, right? I can love you for the knowledge that you give me. There's still a certain love there, but I think once again, it's one of those words that we only relate to sex, right? Or we only relate to being in a monogamous or a non-monogamous relationship. But love is such a broader thing than what we put it on, right? And I think if understanding what love is, which we need to do a show on, and what that means.
I want to know what love is. I want you to. Real quick, there was a as a woman. That's the one I wanted to ask. As a woman, do you feel judged by being non-monogamous? What is wrong with me today? And as a man, do you get congratulated by others?
Yes, absolutely.
That's a good question.
All right, so I'll go first.
Yeah.
So I tell men, because obviously men are going, oh man, that's what's up.
That's what I want.
You think we like, oh yeah.
So, and what I always say is that it's cool, until
somebody smashing your woman,
right? To the woman that you with and you love is out engaging with others as well. Like, is that something that you can handle?
Right.
Because if you can't handle that, then maybe
this ain't for you.
Right.
Come on, talk your talk.
Right. Because it's hard as this used to be for me to think in this mindset this way about, like, if as a man I want a threesome, right? I want two women.
Right.
Why would I think that my woman wouldn't want the same with two men?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, because again, we all have these sexual desires and fantasies, right? Let's not ignore those. Let's not pretend that we are that we only men have a monopoly on this thing, right? And again, we have to understand, and this is a hard one for people in monogamous relationships, that we can't be someone's everything. And that's the thing, right? We cannot. It's highly improbable that we're going to be someone's everything. We're going to show up for them in every way, right? And once we can accept that, there's things that somebody else can provide and give to me that she possibly can't, and vice versa, right?
Right.
There's some things that somebody else may enjoy doing or like doing that I just don't like doing. So do we not enjoy that thing that we enjoy doing because our partner doesn't like it? Like, do we just forfeit that for the rest of our lives? Like that, again.
Yeah. I definitely feel judged. Have felt judged. Not as much today. I feel pretty good and pretty solid and confident in being non-monogamous, and I actually feel excited. And I think that whether you're non-monogamous or monogamous, people, when they get around me and I talk about it, and like they feel it, they can't deny it. They can't deny that it's like, this feels good. So, but is it difficult? Is it challenging? Yes, because there's all of these. I feel like sometimes, and I try not to be, but you got to be ahead of like, okay, what do they assume of me? You know what I mean? Like, what are we going to meet somebody? What are they going to assume of me? And they're going to assume, that maybe, oh, okay, cool. She's good for sex or whatever, but they don't take me seriously, intimately or emotionally or in relationship or things like that. Like, oh, she's good for that, but I can't really be in a relationship with her though.
Okay,
so just different things like that.
Yeah. All right, we got so many people. It's just kind of. I want to get that, because it's very interesting the questions that they're asking. Say, for instance, this one's Andrew. He says, my ex and I were swingers. It was easy because we weren't married. We always said dating means single, but we went to swingers parties together. I was the most open sexually with her. It works.
Yeah.
So.
My question to him would be, could he do that within a relationship?
Right. Well, he's married now. I do know that. But can he do that now? Like
within your relationship,
being that you was that's actually a good question though. Can people be in a non-monogamous relationship and then go to just a regular relationship? You know what I mean? I'm not saying that non-monogamous is not regular, right. But I'm saying like, just the traditional.
It happens. It happens. People take breaks all the time. They need to reevaluate their values in their relationship,
or it completely changes, like whatever the case. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's also a thing where one person in a relationship is non-monogamous and the other person in a relationship is monogamous. Those are relationships that exist as well.
They're not as common, but yeah.
Hold on, say that again. Say it again. Say what you just.
One person in a relationship is non-monogamous, where they go out and they date other people, and their partner is monogamous, and their partner only
just with them.
Yes, only with them. Yeah.
How does that work?
Your mind's
How does that work?
That boy used to be out in the streets, and that's just like
right.
all right there.
No, I guess it's all
transparency and
communication.
That's
exactly.
it.
It all has to do with the communication and acceptance, and what what you accept. You're accepting your mate to do such and such or whatever because it makes them happy. And then, like you said, if that happiness is bringing them home and giving more energy to you, then that's probably why you accept it.
Yeah, and it could just be that you align in the values of how you see love, how you recognize
that
love.
Part, yes.
But then also it's a choice that people choose monogamy, non-monogamy for so many different reasons. People are like, you know what, you do that. I understand it. I acceect it. But I just don't want that. That's just not what I want. It's an agreement,
not a boundary.
Right.
And I like the way when you corrected that, right? Because I think that once again, it's another one of those negative words, a boundary. It means I can't move.
Right.
Exactly.
But I think an agreement is just not that you can't move. It's just that through communication, we realize this is something that we both don't want. Right. And I think that that's a certain level of understanding and acceptance, like you said, right? That you have to be on that page. And then when you don't have that, that's when the discommunication, but also that's when you can be cheating, right? Because I think we have that in a relationship. I'm not getting this sexually, right? But that doesn't happen. You go out and cheat, and then after you get caught cheating, you say, well, I only cheated because you weren't doing this sexually. But you guys are skipping that. Hey, you're going straight to the problem, right? Hey, I want you to do this. I'm not into that. Okay, well, am I free to go do it somewhere? Absolutely. Boom. Oh, shit. It opens up the communication now, because now I'm not bound by our relationship.
And we start to reframe our problems in our relationship, right? And because we always see them as problems, but they are not necessarily problems. And a lot of the problems that couples deal with are really common, and they're not necessarily problems. It's some realities to relationships, and now we just got to figure out how are we going to make opportunities from this, or what can we do about this? Like, do we throw our entire relationship away because of this one part of the, that we're struggling with? No, we
work again and we
work
find
it out. And I think the thing about boundaries is often we use that to be like you said, oh, this is the boundaries, this is the parameters, this is the rules, or whatever the case. Boundaries, I think, is really more like how I want to be treated, or how I want to engage, or how boundaries is really about us, but somehow we made it about, this is my boundary for you.
Right.
That's not really
how it goes.
Okay, I gotta. Well, I'm actually I'm gonna hit this question, but I got another question. You might want to answer, you might not want to answer, but it's gonna be, and I yeah, okay. Real quick, Nick said, are you going to teach your children that it's okay? What if they grow up resenting the fact that mom and dad are going outside the home?
Okay, so right again, that's assuming that they subscribe to societal norms, right? Right. First of all, we're very honest with our kids, open, and our kids. So we're speaking about kids.
So teaching them now.
We have a 7-year-old that she was like, man, let him have his autonomy. He can express himself to you in so many different ways better than a lot of adults,
right?
And so we've allowed our kids so much freedoms to explore different aspects of life. Mm-hmm. We've given them so many options, and they get to choose. Right? Mm-hmm. It's not on me to dictate who they become in life. It's for me to give them all these different things and for them to choose who they want to be. Like, mm-hmm. So, and our kids, I feel like anybody who meets our kids, they feel like our kids are very special and unique, right? Our 14-year-old has been in school for years, and this dude is amazing with the computer and programming and hacking and all this kind of stuff, right? Yeah. And so,
did you say hacking?
We need him over here.
What is that? Give me the number you leave. Go ahead.
We expose them to lots of different things, even things that are maybe we don't identify as, or is not us. And we talk about it openly with them. We don't necessarily push any one way. Of course, naturally, they know that we're non-monogamous. They know about us, and so there's influence there. I'm not going to deny that, but we don't push for anything, and we let them know that they are welcome to explore whatever, and we support that. So if somebody chooses to be monogamous, one of our kids, great, that's wonderful. But we will still say, are you having these conversations? Are you asking these questions?
Yes,
be open and transparent. Yeah.
Okay, so you guys, because you guys been together for 20 years. Mm-hmm. You have 3 kids.
Yes.
You have one on the way.
Yes.
And I'm sure I'm not the only one thinking this. Like, do you take a break once you found out that you're expecting, and and don't, it's about that for the 9 months. You know what I'm saying? It's about just
she already anticipated this question would come up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Good, you're good. Well, I mean, because and I'm sure that when people watch this, what they're gonna, it's the first thing they ask. It's kind of like, how do y'all not the question of are you the baby daddy type of thing or whatever, but
that is a question that is asked a lot of people.
Really?
Too. Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, because I would think that you guys are in a place to where y'all know what the timing and all that is of what's going on. But others, of course, like you said, ignorance, would be asking that. But my question is like, do you guys take a break as opposed to dealing with anyone else outside? Because for one, you're carrying, and you might not feel comfortable of being with someone else. Mm-hmm. And then 2, you might, still want to do your thing or whatever. And she probably, because I know women get emotional, more emotional when they, when they're pregnant and stuff, whatever. So how does that work?
So I'll let her answer, but it's so funny. 2 things. For one, like from before, because I tend to have a higher sex drive, right? And so I remember her being, at some points, in our relationship, she'd be like, man, please go out, please, like, have a good time, you know what I'm saying, like, yeah. And then, it didn't. And so another thing I just wanted to address real quick. So the reason we say non-monogamy is because, like you said, if I choose swinger or poly, whatever, I'm putting myself in a box. Mm-hmm. Now, it doesn't allow me a lot of wiggle room, a lot of space to grow. And so this way I get to choose, I get to explain to somebody exactly what my dynamic for my relationship is, instead of them assuming what it is if I give it a title,
right,
and give it a label. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Okay, so to answer your question, so generally in the past, with the past pregnancies, we were pretty solid and certain. We were like, oh, we're gonna take a break. Like that was just how we navigated it then, and what felt right and good to us. Just kind of focusing on that, and I just really wasn't interested in anybody else,
right?
You know, and sometimes I wasn't interested. In
right.
Hence me, please go out.
Right.
So, and then this pregnancy, you know, we're figuring out. We're kind of allowed ourselves to be open. We, you know, still haven't had it. I'm transparently am watching my words because, you know, it's still new to us. It's still fresh to us. Right. So I will say that transparently. But we came at it differently, and I think I'm in a different place. I was like, wait a minute. I think I was kind of operating off this idea of, oh, pregnant women shouldn't be sexual, and especially with other people, and they, you know, have to be a certain way, and it's in whatever. So but this time I was like, no, I'm still a sexual person. I still, maybe not sexual, but I still want to engage in intimacy with people who I enjoy being around. And, you know, I don't want to just cut myself off. It doesn't feel good to just cut yourself off. And so we kind of just talked about it, and this is a new experience for us, but, you know, we've decided that we wanted to kind of just go with the flow and see, you know what I mean? And see how it goes. And so definitely for sure there's intimacy, and then everything else we're trying to figure out.
Again, it allows for growth, right? Right.
Yeah.
And even being in those uncomfortable spaces, because it was an uncomfortable conversation.
Absolutely.
But it allows for growth though, right? You know, and I'm not opposed to being uncomfortable. I used to be. I used to be. But I've recognized now it's the difference between being uncomfortable and it's something being painful. Right. So as long as it's not painful, I'm good. You know, I can deal with uncomfortability. You know, but painfulness, that's now we talk about something different, you know. So
Right.
If I started off like you said, like as you guys like swingers, I could probably be more open and understanding to it. But if I basically has been most of my life, you know, traditional and stuff like that, I don't know if the person, I mean, with that, the person that I want to be with or whatever, and if they aren't not that way, like you said, you have some couples where, you know, one person isn't, the other person is, whatever. Can I find that person to do? You know what I mean?
Where do I find them?
Where do I find a woman that ain't gonna do nothing and let me be?
That's why I quit now.
You know what's
you know what
right, so everything is out there, right? It's just again, it's the conversation as I spoke to earlier. You just being honest and putting yourself out there, and someone can choose if they want that or not. That's their they get to make an informed decision if they want to be with you or not. If you said that to 100 women, I'm sure you would get it. One of them would say yes. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Again, it's just putting yourself out there, you know, and being honest about what you really expect and what you want. You know, now again, we understanding that she may say yes today and be cool with it, but in 6 months to a year from now, she may decide that she wants something now. And how do you feel about that?
One thing I want to say is, for one, I respect you guys. I love y'all vibe. Y'all as a couple gives great energy. Just the fact that you're open in the communications, I can see and feel. You know what I mean? And it makes me want that. You know what I mean? And not the fact that I have to be non-monogamous, but just the communication and
that level of communication.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. What was it? Vic? Go back to comments.
And communication is just the tool, but ultimately is I think the intimacy and the vulnerability that we allow in our relationships.
Yeah,
from each other.
Yes.
From each other.
What's that, Crown?
Yeah, that's Carletta.
I feel like it all boils down to trust, honest, and open communication, and true respect for one another. Exactly. You know, and that's how, you know, I see you guys. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's seriously, y'all don't understand. I was kind of like, you don't. Sometimes you get fake. You know what I'm saying? People or they're just saying it for the hype or whatever. You know what I mean? And to have someone here that actually are so open, and I had a question that I probably thought was going to be like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? And y'all was like, hey shit, what the hell? I knew you was gonna ask, what the hell? You know what I mean? That type of thing or whatever that makes me love and appreciate you guys.
Appreciate it. You know what I recognize about most people? Most of us in meeting people are guarded.
Yes.
So we don't even get to see who we really are because we're afraid to be hurt. Right, we're afraid to be vulnerable and transparent because it'll be weaponized. We fear that it'll be weaponized against us, and we'll be judged, we'll ostracized, all these type of things, right? And so it's really courageous for you to be vulnerable and transparent. That's more courage than anything, right? Because now you're just putting it out there, and whatever happens, it happens. Exactly. And now it's up to you how you react or respond to that, right? Yes. And so if more people can put themselves out there and be more transparent and vulnerable and bring their guard down. I'm not saying to be oblivious or ignorant to, understanding what is out there, but approaching people with your guard down opposed to with your guard up. I think that you'll get, I remember seeing this one day with this guy, I forget who said it, but he said walking down the street, he turned his frown into a smile and people were more accepting of him. So something as simple as that. So take your guard down and approach people. And it's so different, the response and reaction that you get, because it allows other people to want to be open, transparent, and vulnerable with you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. And I also don't want to, glorify or glamorize the relationship, and I'm sure we're not. But just in case anybody's out there and like, wow, look at them, they're great. No,
I do think you should though. I don't
struggle.
I kind of.
What you say? Thinking to open it up more for people to be more open.
You should glamorize it, right?
Well, we want to normalize it. We want
to normalize it, but I think that we need to see your success.
I agree.
Right? I think that word, you do need to glamorize it, right? Because it's not normal does not make it wrong, right? And I think that your happiness is how you operate within your relationship is how you guys are happiness, right? Happy. And I think that needs to be shown.
Right.
This is what non-monogamy looks like for us.
Right.
And it does need to be glamorized because it needs to be seen that negative shit you thought, this ain't it.
Right.
I'm actually operating better in my non-monogamous relationship than you are in your monogamous relationship where you're cheating and lying to each other.
I definitely think
it's
important
it needs to be celebrated. And
Celebrate.
so that's why I cut you off there because I think that it needs to be, right? It needs to be a certain glamour around it, right?
Yeah.
And it needs to be shown because I think that the knowledge and understanding needs to be out there, and it needs to be an example of what it looks like when it's done properly.
Yeah.
Just like if you guys were here in a monogamous relationship, right, and it was successful, we would applaud that. It will be glamorized, right?
Exactly.
And so I have to say the same thing for you because what I see is two people who love each other in a relationship that most people couldn't even fathom, right?
Exactly.
And so I think that it's big and great that you do glamorize.
Exactly.
I agree with you. And that's why we center that, in our groups and the events that we have, it is centered around it. And I say, yes, monogamous people that you can come, you can share whatever you can learn, but we are centering non-monogamy because it's important It's important
Let's get like some of the things that you guys. Well,
okay.
Well, you want to do comments? Okay.
We got like 2 comments in there.
It was a couple more. See, that's why we always go.
Okay, here we go. Right here. It says thanks. See what I'm saying? Thanks to both of you for sharing your wisdom on this topic.
Miss Anderson. Yes.
Thank
you. Introduce me. No, Marshall.
Marshall is crazy ass.
I tell you, Marshall. Anyway, that's a whole other story. Give us some more. Like you guys got a few things that you guys are doing actually to spread or teach. Basically, like you said, your gentlemen's. I don't even know what it's not.
It's just a men's. It's a men's group that I've created. Just to create a safe space for men to come and just be open and honest with one another and transparent and vulnerable. Just to see that they're not the only ones going through whatever they're going through or dealing with. That's when try to again help just normalize just being open and honest. because I heard one day we went to this panel, and I won't put anybody out there. It was a panel of professionals, and this black woman was in it. She was a doctor, and she had said that she made a comment about men being emotionally unavailable. And to your comment earlier that you said, I definitely agree. From we start that at a young age when we tell our boys don't cry, be tough, and all this kind of stuff. And so then eventually, when we don't learn how to process our emotions, where do they go? What do they do? Now we grow up, we become violent. We tend to be, we sometimes even beat the women that we're with, engaged
most
with.
of the time.
Right. Beat the kids, beat our kids, and because we don't know how to. So again, these are just things that I'm trying to help men understand, that there's different ways, like we can be vulnerable, we can express ourselves, we can figure out what's going on. Like something that was huge for me, it's, and I can't think of the name of it right now, but she definitely knows. It's basically where I take an assessment of myself, of my body, and I see what comes up for me. A body scan, right? And I see where's these feelings coming from. Where does it start? Like, I feel my body heat up. I feel it in my stomach. I feel it in my chest. I feel it in my shoulders. And now I can start to recognize when things come up for me and what emotion that is associated with that thing. And that is so huge. Like, if you can imagine,
instead of just reacting on it because it feels so uncomfortable.
Yes, exactly. And to your point about hurt, like we react in such a visceral way when we are hurt. Right. It's the biggest reaction because somebody hurt us, and we can't, because we're afraid to admit that we've been hurt. Because hurt is it's vulnerable.
It's vulnerability, and we've been told that that's a bad thing.
Yeah. So with my men's group, I'm trying to help men just kind of like understand and just talk about these things, and so that's just one of the things we do. We have
and what days are the men's group?
Every other Tuesday.
I have it up here.
So it's like it's next Tuesday. And
where is it located?
It's virtual.
It's virtual.
So it's simple and easy.
And that's the information there.
Yeah.
I'll be a guest next week.
Oh, nice.
For sure.
I think definitely go to Shade. And I wanted to say something about Shades of Non-Monogamy, because it gives you I like the title for one, because it's almost like the shades of gray, whatever. It gives you different aspects, different looks of the word itself.
It's levels to the shit.
Exactly.
It was her creation.
So I love
it.
I like
it. I ultimately would love to change it to Shades of Love. Because one day I feel like we don't even have to talk about monogamy or non-monogamy. We're just going to talk about love.
But we're
just going to talk about relationships.
Because that's what I see right here. That's what I see right here.
We're not there yet.
Right.
I see the love.
No, actually, I like that, like you said, because it's open, it's out there, and then showing the difference, and with you guys, I definitely know it's going to be a success.
Yeah. We also have the last Fridays of the month. There's like a social event. It's just come to the bar in Pasadena. I think it's Der Wolf is what it's called. There's a bar in Pasadena, and it's just like, come hang out. There's meet and greet, just meet other people, like-minded people, creating community. And Friday, every last Friday of the month in Pasadena. And once it grows, we're going to start to have like workshops and expose you to do all kind of different things. So
and we're inclusive of everybody, but
that's what I say. Are these only for non-monogamous relationships?
We're inclusive of everyone. Okay. But what she hasn't mentioned, that I think is important, that we do try to cater to Black and brown people.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Because we think that there's no space out there for people who look like us.
Right.
So
a lot of the spaces are very white. And then last, it's not specific to non-monogamy, but I do want to put it out there. It's a women's group, and it's called Intuitive Wellness and Pleasure Potluck on Sundays, every other Sundays, that I run with women. And eventually we're going to actually put our groups together, and because I think it's so important for us to that feminine and masculine energy, again, not about gender, but just learning from each other. So I have a women's group at the park that we run.
And lastly, we do pop-up workshops. Excuse me. That we either she does, sometimes she does them by herself, or we co-run them. It just depends.
And coaching.
And group coaching.
Or individual coaching.
And also she has a therapy.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, and I'm also
and I see I haven't started yet a podcast.
Right.
Exactly. That's where you're gonna be talking to me. But yes, definitely, I'll definitely have to do that, because, like you said, get it out here, like we really need to. And for you guys that want to get all the information, you can go to non-monogamy, Shades of Non-Monogamy on .com. All right, and check it out. They have all the anything that you need, of course, or questions that you need to ask, whatever, you can either read. They can write you back on there too, as well, right?
Mhm.
Yes, questions,
Our social
answers
media links
that
and
we might not
everything.
have gotten to because we have so many people that are commenting, and we can only get to a few. But before we leave here, we got maybe a couple more, or one more.
And by the way, we also have our Instagram. You know, we're always accepting questions and DMs and
on the Instagram.
Yes.
Is that also the same handle?
It's on the website, but
It's
it's shades underscore non-monogamy.
Oh, okay.
And
We did get all the
Wayne's-
questions.
And mine's is
Wayne.LaSane.
Yeah, Wayne.LaSane.
Wayne.LaSane. Okay, cool. Man.
Yeah, once again, I want to say thank y'all. We have some dear brothers, dear sisters.
We got a
right?
dear
We
brother,
want
dear
y'all to
sister.
chime
Yeah,
in
y'all might
on-
want to tap in on this.
but I just want to applaud y'all for being so courageous, right, in your journey, and then also being not only transparent with each other, which is the most important, but just transparent with the viewers and in the world, right? Because it's giving people a look into other forms of love and what it looks like for you. And I think that sometimes, like you said, we get shoved in a box. So I thank you guys for coming on the show today and kind of removing that box from all of us, right? Whether we want to join into non-monogamous relationship or whether it's now that we actually understand.
Just understanding it.
And it
actually
takes away that negative connotation. And now we have an
and you don't look at somebody a certain way
because they said something that you don't agree with.
Exactly.
And so I appreciate you guys and I applaud you guys for being almost beacons, right? You guys realized that there was a void in your space and you went and created that space, and not only for just the space, but just for black and brown, right? To have a space to. That's a beautiful thing because this is only something you really hear about in the white communities,
right?
And so you could be a black male or a Latino woman and be stuck because why am I feeling this way? Because the world says this, you know what I'm saying? So great job, y'all.
And I want to tell you guys that I really appreciate the platform that you guys created. I didn't know what to expect today. Right? But for me, it's like, man, I'm willing to go out there and put myself out there to an extent to speak to people, whatever. But man, I came on here not knowing what's going on. And I'm impressed. Like I really thought it was some great questions. I thought the audience, the way they were asking you guys, and the conversations you guys were having earlier. I wanted to chime in, but I was like, man, you could have. That's what I was saying. It was like sometimes.
No, you know what?
That's why I wanted y'all to start from the beginning.
Now, normally because
of that.
Normally we have sometimes the you guys can see the questions, like our guests can see the questions, and then sometimes. The only thing is I don't like them to focus on it, right? Because they be looking and like, and then they'll answer the question. And they're like, "We still talking about it?" You know what I'm saying? Just to throw it off. But I mean, this is great, you guys. This is great. It went well. Let's get in real quick to dear brothers, dear sister. I think we got two.
We just want to do one.
We're gonna do one. Just do the one. Just do the let's do that one. Yeah. All right, guys. Dear brothers, dear sisters. Put it up there so Fat Boy can do his thing. You know how you do, Fat Boy. Don't do it. Don't.
Oh yeah. So all of our viewers, man, this is my favorite part of the show. If you want to ask your brothers or your sisters something, send a clip, a 1-minute clip to firedupbroadcasting@gmail.com and title it "Dear Brother, Dear Sister." And we want to hear y'all questions. Make sure y'all tap in, man. And I bet y'all better tap in, man, because we ain't been having y'all been playing with us.
Now, we got an anonymous one today. That's how we played a lot of them. We had a lot of them. Yeah.
Fat Boy will come to your house.
We're doing it 2 at a time. We might have some strips. No.
Action.
Go ahead.
Dear brother, so my question is, if you were dating online and you met a girl who was a little insecure about the safety issues of online dating, and she expressed that to you and asked to see your driver's license, would you think she's crazy?
One more time. Let's get it one more time in case you guys missed it.
Dear brother, so my question is, if you were dating online and you met a girl who was a little insecure about the safety issues of online dating, and she expressed that to you and asked to see your driver's license, would you think she's crazy?
Okay.
Absolutely.
Fat Boy says yes.
I'll tell you why.
Okay, and I'm gonna tell you no.
Because you be asking for pictures on social media.
No, go ahead. Just go ahead. Tell why you think.
Why I think that she's kind of crazy. Because it depends on if you just now meeting this person.
Crazy is a big harsh word, isn't it?
Oh, that's what she said.
What not?
She used crazy.
Did she think you crazy? Yeah, she did,
she
but I'm just saying. I know.
I'm answering her question.
Do you think she, okay,
I think that you may be a little bit crazy. Because you're already entering to the next situation with the next person as the last one, right? So you're basically blaming the next person for the bullshit you went through. Because you're basically saying that everybody is not telling the truth.
No,
and I have to
you
ask
you missed what you missed what she said. She said for her safety. For her safety. So she's implying I think if somebody you show your ID, you show your ID to a you show your ID to when you go in the club. You show your ID when you go get to the bar or whatever. You show your ID. So what's wrong with someone that's first meeting you? Rather see your ID and say you are who you are and you're the age that you say that you are.
Wrong with that, but does that stop him being a fucking serial killer? No,
it doesn't stop. But
it doesn't. So once again, it goes to my question: how is seeing an ID and making sure making sure you are who you say you are, making you safe?
Okay, because let me tell you something. Let me tell you something real quick. No. Let me tell you something real quick because you ain't been in the dating game. You ain't been in the dating game for a while. No, you ain't been in the dating game for a while. But the whole thing, and plus, you didn't always do online dating either. No. So for someone that has experience with online dating, you have people that goes out that go out that say they 5'10" and you meet them and they 5'5". You know what I'm saying? Or you go there when you tell them that I'm 36 years old and you get in, he's 60 years old. You know what I mean? Or so that person's already lined up front of who they are. What is wrong with actually asking? Well, you said you 5'5". Well, your license says that you're such and such. You got the truth. And basically all it is, you're just getting the truth of the person that they say that they are, whatever. And I don't see anything wrong with that.
What do y'all think?
So maybe my assumption was that this person wants me to send a picture of my ID.
No. She said just ask for your ID. Like when
are we in person?
Yeah, when you meet.
Oh, okay. In person. I don't understand. Like if so you want to know if I don't mind showing my ID if in person. I thought they wanted to screenshot.
Take a picture.
No. She says shows like when y'all meet, show your see your ID. Can I see your ID?
Right.
That you're the person you say you are.
Right. But I hope that she's taking other measures besides, because now I'm close in proximity to you. So if there was something I wanted to do to you, I can now do it. Right. Yeah. So I hope that she's taking other precautions. Like meeting in public spaces. Like I think that. To the point earlier, when we was talking about dating aspect, where like what's wrong with meeting at a coffee shop for the first date? How am I pay for your dinner? I don't even know if I like you.
Exactly.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't even know we like each other. We got to sit at a whole dinner together. Yeah. So let's just meet
I got all this money on my Starbucks card.
Let's meet in a very, very public space. Maybe she can get there ahead of time and say, hey, meet me at this time, and she can already scope it out or whatever. There's things she can do for her own safety.
Besides the ID. I think the ID is a little far-fetched.
So I think the ID is a good idea, and I don't think it's far-fetched.
Hey, Fuel checking IDs.
I'm checking IDs.
Fuel's checking IDs, lady. He wants to know if you're 5'5".
Hold on, let me tell you.
So my concern would be that somebody now she has my information, my address.
Right.
So how about somebody show up my house?
Yeah, right. But that's absolutely a good point. That's a good point too. But you can have that same thing for when you're showing it to somebody else. They can do the same thing.
Because it's like you can get my social media. My social media usually is public, and you can see that I'm interacting with people. So that's proof.
Yeah, but like if you go to the bar or whatever, they got your and you're doing a tab. They hold your ID. Anybody can take down your address, your phone, whatever on there. You know what I'm saying? So true. What's the difference as opposed to if you're going to meet someone for the first time or whatever, and you want to make sure that's the person that they say they are? You know what I mean? Because he could have gave you a false name or whatever. Let me see your ID. Let me see, you know what I'm saying? And let's see how true that you are. Period. There shouldn't be nothing wrong with that.
Am I too trusting then?
Yeah, hell yeah.
I will hope you didn't bring your dumb ass outside as the person you're not supposed to be. Like, who shows up as another person?
Well, let me tell you. All right, so
you showing up as other people now?
Dude, okay, I have experience. Catfishing, exactly, and that's the whole thing. I had a person. I'm not gonna say no name, but the ID wasn't gonna help. Yeah. Because did I tell you about the story?
You do that with her?
Yeah. No. Well, no. It was her. It was her. It was just a little more of her.
You do that.
Keep it light. She was bigger than what she said she really was. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing, or whatever. Now the ID wouldn't have helped because if her ID still says she was 140 and she got 190,
exactly.
You see what I'm saying? But you know what I mean? I just think it is. I think it's a safe thing for women especially to me, I think it's a safe thing to kind of like at least see who they are up front. I don't know. That's my
ladies,
point.
as I call them.
Here we got comment on.
I call them rape kits. Keep you a knife and a motherfucking thing of mace.
It'd
be better.
Definitely that. Yeah. Absolutely. Everyone knows me. Well, go ahead. No, don't go to Marshall.
Right there. Carletta.
Go ahead.
I think it's a good idea because I had a guy give me a fake name before, and I snuck and saw his ID and realized he was a guy and an associate of mine was dating.
See? Yeah. Who else we got? We got anybody else that got?
Hey,
a lot of people do. A lot of people do that. They do catfishing like crazy now. She said a lot of people do that. Latrice, thank you. So I was right. All right, okay. We're gonna leave with this. Once again, you guys.
What do you feel?
I mean, I'd show it. I'd show it. It's not a big deal to me. But also, yeah, I don't know. For me, asking somebody to see their ID, it's not gonna make me feel safer per se. So, I don't know. Yeah. I don't like online dating stuff. I like just not for me.
I was been in the same situation with my girl. I met the girl I date now. I met her on the relationship.
Yeah.
I walked in and she did not look like her picture, but in a good way.
Okay.
So it was cool.
hey now.
I was like,
that's what's up.
I started fixing myself. Like, hold on, this ain't the woman I showed up for. Hold on.
All right, guys. Thanks again, Melissa and Wayne, for joining us today.
Yes.
Shades of non-monogamy. I just can't. I don't know what's wrong with my tongue today. I don't know. My mouth dry. I don't know what's going on. But we want to thank you guys again for coming and sharing with us. And most definitely want to invite you guys back or do more things. You know what I'm saying? Because this has been a very, very teaching series. Seriously. Got anything?
Just like I said, thank y'all. Awesome job. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, share right now. Yeah. Right now, subscribe and share. Right now, share it with 15 of the people in your phone right now. Fat Boy says so. Make sure you do it. You see what we bringing y'all.
Yeah.
This content is crazy. Not everybody is doing this kind of content. I want you to go through your index. I want you to go through your Instagram and see the last podcast that you follow. When were they talking about non-monogamous relationships and giving you in-depth detail? So we bringing different shit to the streets and we giving y'all hella game.
And we on the streets now, ain't we?
And we on the streets. So I need y'all to really appreciate us.
I know, right?
And start liking, subscribing, and sharing. No, but no,
that part.
And remember, man. And remember,
if they talking about you behind your back, they behind you for a reason. Peace. Bye, 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 bye.
What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, bro? How you been? I heard you was on a show called Reasons. What's that?
Hey, Fat Boy, what's up, man? I saw you on this show called Reasons with this guy named Fuel.
Yo, what's up? Got some information.
Yep.
They asking for it. What should we do?
Okay.